Once upon a time, in the quiet village of Ogwachi, there lived a widow named Nneka. She had lost her husband Obiora just as she discovered she was pregnant with her first child. Life became unbearably hard for Nneka. With no family to turn to, she lived alone in a small hut with a leaking roof, barely scraping by. To survive, she gathered firewood in the forest, selling it to villagers each day. But each night Nneka cried herself to sleep, mourning the loss of Obiora, her heart heavy with grief. Every week, Nneka visited her husband's grave, pouring out her sorrows, begging him not to have left her in such a cruel world. One evening, as she wept at the graveside, darkness crept in, and Nneka fell asleep there, exhaustion overtaking her. She dreamt of a shadow figure watching her from the trees, but when she woke up, the figure was gone. One day, while she was deep in the forest collecting firewood, Nneka felt a sharp pain in her stomach. Her water broke, and she knew the baby was coming. Alone and frightened, Nneka collapsed to the ground. Just when she thought all hope was lost, an old woman appeared from the shadows. The woman, with eyes as cold as the night, helped Nneka deliver her baby safely. She introduced herself as Mama Aje, a healer who lived within the forest. Mama Aje took Nneka and her newborn son Chibuzo to her secluded hut, offering them shelter until Nneka regained her strength. The old woman was kind, cooking for Nneka, helping care for Chibuzo, and providing comfort in the lonely night. Nneka, grateful beyond words, began to see Mama Aje as the mother she never had. As weeks turned into months, Nneka resumed gathering firewood while Mama Aje watched over Chibuzo. Nneka noticed something strange. Despite the old woman's advanced age, she seemed stronger and more vibrant each day. She dismissed her suspicions, believing Mama Aje was simply blessed by the gods. One day, Mama Aje called Nneka to her side. "Nneka, my daughter," she began in a voice that sent chills down Nneka's spine. "I have a way to make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. No more struggling, no more poverty, but the price is high." Desperate to give her son a better life, Nneka listened intently. "What must I do?" she asked, her heart pounding. Mama Aje's eyes gleamed with a sinister light. "You must create a special cream that will make old people young again. To do this, you must pound the flesh of a newborn baby into a paste, which we will then mix with secret herbs. The rich will pay anything for this cream, and you will live like a queen." Nneka recalled in horror, "I could never harm a child." Mama Aje's smile vanished. "Think it over, Nneka. You have suffered so much, and this is your chance to change your fate. I will give you 3 days to decide." The days passed in torment. Nneka was torn between her love for her son and the desire to escape her miserable existence. On the 3rd day, she went to Mama Aje and asked, "If I do this, will my own child be saved?" The old woman nodded. "We will use other babies. Your son will never be harmed." Driven by desperation, Nneka agreed. Mama Aje handed her a pouch of gold to rent a shop in the village where she could sell the cream. Nneka took the money, but a deep sense of dread gnawed at her soul. That night, under Mama Aje's watchful eye, Nneka brought a stolen baby back to the hut. With trembling hands, she placed the infant in a mortar. Tears streamed down her face as she pounded the child into paste, her heart breaking with every blow. Mama Aje mixed the paste with herbs and whispered incantations over the mixture. The cream was ready. Nneka opened her shop in Ogwashi, and soon the elderly flocked to buy the miracle cream. The cream worked like magic, transforming wrinkled skin into smooth, youthful flesh. Nneka became wealthy beyond her dreams, buying a grand house and luxurious clothes. but the price of her wealth weighed heavily on her conscience. As the demand for the queen grew, so did the need for more babies. Nneka's heart hardened and she became consumed by greed. She kidnapped more children each day, pounding them into paste with an emotionless face. Mama Aje, now growing younger and more beautiful, revealed in their success, living in luxury thanks to Nneka's work. But the villagers began to notice the sudden disappearance of infants. Fear gripped Ogwashi as rumors of a child-stealing witch spread. Parents gathered their children, and soon Nneka found it impossible to find another baby. Weeks passed as Nneka's shop ran out of cream. Desperation gnawed at her, and she returned to Mama Aje pleading for help. The witch's kingdom demands a greater sacrifice, Mama Aje said coldly. You must pound your own son, Chibuzo, to restore your wealth and power. Nneka's world chattered. How could she kill the child she loved so dearly? But the fear of poverty and the grip of greed clouded her judgment. Mama Aje gave her 3 days to comply. On the 3rd day, Nneka, with tears and agony in her heart, placed Chibuzo in the mortar. As she raised the pistol, Chibuzo's innocent eyes looked up at her, and she hesitated. But the promise of wealth overpowered her love, and she began to pound. The cries of her baby filled the night air, piercing her soul. When the deed was done, Nneka used the paste to create the cream, and once again, her business flourished. But the cost was too high. Nneka's night became haunted by nightmares, her son's dying cries. She could no longer find peace in her riches. One night, as she lay in bed, the ghost of Chibuzo appeared, his tiny figure glaring with a haunting light. Mother, he whispered, why did you do this to me? Nneka screamed and fled to Mama Aje's hut, begging for protection. But the old woman, now a beautiful young maiden, laughed cruelly. I warned you of the price, Nneka. This is your burden to bear. Nneka returned home, trembling with fear. That night, Chibuzo's ghost returned, tormenting her until she fled into the street, screaming like a mad woman. As she ran, a speeding carriage struck her down, killing her instantly. Meanwhile, Mama Aje, enjoying her newfound youth, was visited by the same ghost. Chibuzo's spirit chased her through the forest, his cries growing louder until she too was struck down by a runaway carriage. With the death of Nneka and Mama Aje, the hunting ceased. The village of Ogwachi slowly returned to peace, but the story of the widow who traded her soul for riches was told for generations, a dark reminder of the price of greed. Moral lesson: no amount of wealth is worth the sacrifice of what truly matters. Greed and evil deeds bring only suffering in the end.